let's just start because you're all over the place. So where are you currently? And describe the uh is it two or three markets? I don't even know. I mean I can't keep up with you. I'm just saying. So
I've been all over the place speaking because I made it a goal this year. Like when we did our business planning clinic, I said I want to speak 7 times this year. That was on my goal list to do. Because in October, we set our business year for the next year, right? That's coming up. So hopefully you
right.
all are preparing for that. But I set mine that I wanted to speak 7 times. And so that's what I've been seeking to do. So I've been all over speaking, and I'm going to do the Elevate conference in Colorado at the end of um, September, and then going to a girls retreat in October. So I've met that. I've done my 7 speaking engagements, and so I'll make a bigger goal next year on just the platforms that we will use. But we actually just work, live, and serve El Paso, Texas, home to Fort Bliss, if any of you serve military folks. We're the 2nd largest military installation, and we have a micro team, and we average 200 homes a year with 5 or less of us. Just really laser focused on what we do.
Well, and thank you for your service. And so, like, there's so many that have blessed us with their time on this call that service areas, in the Maryland, even San Antonio, Fort Hood area. Does that account for a lot of your business?
It does. 87% of our business is military relocation.
Wow,
Mm.
wow. Well, and here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we have like very little to any because we don't have any. Matter of fact, I just did my first VA deal this year in like 3 or 4 years because we just don't, we don't do much of that, or at least I don't.
Yeah.
You
Y'all
know,
have a huge VA population.
yes,
I
yeah.
mean, huge there. It may be just not been your focus, but if any of you know you have a huge VA following, and you can look at the stats in your MLS to see, I would encourage you to maybe add that as a focus, because I call it the shift proof population. Especially if you're near an installation. In Dallas, you have that, in Grand Prairie, you have that big reserve compound, National Guard reserve compound there.
Where
And so it could be an advertising opportunity for you in that location.
could very well be. So we'll have to look. I just don't. I never have. So, and I'm glad that you're serving so many there at a high level. Now, don't you also have something up here in Flower Mounds, South Lake area, or am I wrong there? For some reason, I thought you
You
were.
have right. You have right. It's weird because I am probably one of the only little hybrid babies in El Paso. I mean, in Keller Williams. I do not belong to our local Keller Williams. I left it 2.5 years ago. Um, I needed more talent, more leadership to help me get to where I was going than this office offered. So I requested to move to the South Lake office. So on paper, I'm in the South Lake office, but
Okay.
I live, work, and serve in El Paso. So when you look me up, it looks like I'm there, but we
Okay.
are not there.
Okay. I knew there was something weird about you.
Yeah. 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 And then everybody's like, what? You can do that? And I'm like, well, they let me do it. And so
Yes. Well, I'm so glad they did. So, there's probably a couple of things that you'd love to share with us because, again, I know with your commitment to speak at least 7 times, I'm sure there's a message or two that you'd like for us to hear. So, I don't want to steal your shine at all because there's 2 or 3 things that I'm so curious about, but I'm giving you the floor. So, it's yours. Share with us what you will, and then I'll just launch it. And there's only 2 or 3 things that I'm so curious about. So talk to me. Tell me about you or your business or your mindset or leadership or whatever it is that's on your heart.
I'll tell you about that. And then I'd love to hear your thoughts, because it might spark something your group wants to hear. And then I'd
Absolutely.
love for the group to put something you want to know in there. Like I said, we're a micro team that sells at a high level, and we're also very goal driven. And we also have been teaching classes about this new NAR thing on how to have conversations with buyers and sellers. So if you want to know something about lead generation, how to do it at a high level, or have a micro team and serve at a high level, or you want to know about how we're having conversations around a NAR, post it in the chat group. And then I always like to give, when we're on Zooms like this, I love to hear what the audience wants to hear. I don't want to assume you want to know what Chastity's doing. I'd rather help you mastermind around something to make you successful. As Ben said, we're in the El Paso area. Again, we average about 200 homes a year. We're already at 150 plus this year with 3 of us, me, 2 agents and 2 admin and 2 ops is how we are made up. And people say, Chastity, how do you do that? Are you crazy? And by the way, I serve in the Army Reserve as a sergeant major at a brigade level. So I'm pretty busy there. And they say, how do you do it all? Well, you do it all with leverage through people and systems, which we all have to have. You cannot grow if you do not leverage. If you're sitting back saying nobody does it as good as me, or I don't want to let the control go because I'm OCD. I've said it, I've been there, but what I know is that we go farther with more. And so if you've been sitting on the fence with that, I'd encourage you to think about that. Yes, it's hard to hire. Yes, it's hard to relinquish control. But if you hire the right person and they help you build the right system, you are going to double your business. And me and my husband started this team. I always say I went from unemployed crying in a parking lot to $1 million agent. And I did that through going to trainings at the market center, being gritty, not giving up. I also had 4 kids to feed. So you didn't have a choice to succeed. But I will tell you what, it sparked me an amazing team leader at the time who made me feel like I had to know the buyer. He really made me memorize the buyer consultation through a PowerPoint presentation and made me give it to him over and over before I felt like I could even have a buyer conversation because I thought it was required. But I really appreciate him for that, because then I was in Ignite, and then I went to Bold, and then I went to Mega Camp when I was only an agent for 3 months. So all those things led up to me saying, you know what, I can do this. And I remember being the young agent. I was rookie of the year the first year. I remember sitting there, the #1 agent over and over was this guy named David Acosta in our office, over and over. And he was selling 100, 150 homes. And he had a team, a larger team. And I just put my mark on the wall and I said, I will be #1 in this office. And so I started looking for people and systems to help me be #1 because that was my goal. And that was it. And then the second year they recruited me to be the team leader. And so I did that. I thought that was a great opportunity. I was their team leader just shy of 2 years. I tripled agent count and doubled owner profit. And again, meeting amazing people at Keller Williams International. I was up there. The first person I met there was Ben Kinney, and just loved all the things he said, and was a student of Ben Kinney since 2015. And that's how I've modeled and built our team for everything he said he did in his team. And now I'm a part of Place with him as a business partner. And so me and my husband, when I got out the team leader role, we built this team. And we're rolling into 6 years on this team, and we've never had more than really 5 agents producing. And in just 5.5 years, we've sold 1,500 homes and built amazing systems and met amazing people. And now I said, I've always kept my head down working. And my mom always told me, if you're not willing to toot your own horn, nobody else is. So I said, you know, I owe it to people to come out my little corner, out my shell, and tell people how we did this. And you can do it too. And you can be a mom, and you can be a dad, and you can be another something and still have an amazing business. But it's all about your system and your people and having the right vision for that. So with that, I'll leave it up to you, Ben. Ask me what you want, and then the group can post in there and you tell me what they want.
Well, thank you for that. I think that Chastity, you, like me and most folks on this call, I think that first of all, you'll never, or we'll never get to where we want to be without this perpetual thirst to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that I know about you. And I know for a fact it's the reason why 35 years later, I still stand here in this business because, again, the money I spent on just travel alone is more than the
Mhm.
real estate agent makes in a year, right?
Yep.
But and that's okay. And what I'd like to know is with your service, and I know there was something that you do about marriage and family, right? How has that impacted your business? And I'm making an assumption that Chastity she didn't and doesn't do that without this nurturing. Family is important. Family health is important. I'm making an assumption that it's an easy correlation into your business, but chat on that for a second.
Well, my master's in marriage and family therapy, and I did that before real estate, and I worked as a government employee on post, and I worked in mental health and family services for military through Army Community Service, which I loved. If they say money, you know, when they ask us if money's no object, what would you do? I would teach people how to be parents and husbands and wives, because I think that's the most important thing in the world to us, to continue to have, you know, producing folks of society and healthy folks. And so, consequently enough, I grew up in the real estate business. I grew up in the South, if you can't tell, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. If any of you are our Carolina family, shout out to y'all. And I would go to work with my daddy in the summer. He was a painter, and he painted all the $1 million homes in Myrtle Beach. And he would show me these homes, and he would be like, you can have this. You see this, you can have this. And we grew up, we were, my mom and my dad made a lot of money, but they were divorced, and he didn't give her, but he gave me whatever I asked for. But I lived in a little modest mobile home with my mom as a single mom. And we came for money, the Calhoun family, if y'all know the Calhoun name. A lot of my family had money, but not my mom. And so I made $40 a week, putting window holes and seals and all those things for daddy to paint. And he said, real estate's where the money is. Real estate is where the money is. Well, my mom, having no education, being single mom, was like, get your education. Nobody can ever take that from you. So I like to say I come full circle for mom and daddy's vision, because I am doing the real estate and through the marriage and family therapy. It helps with the couples. It helps guide them and have conversations with them, because I know a lot of you have been in the middle of a husband and wife, or wife and husband fight, that they could not agree on something, especially when they're custom building. So those skills came into play there. But what my passion really is through real estate is teaching our military families and veterans how to build wealth through real estate. I always say, I want everybody to own a home, because I know that is the power of wealth for them. Because, you know, we didn't have that growing up, other than the mobile home, which is not the same as owning a house. And my motto is, who better to own a piece of America than our servicemen and women? Yes, I want everybody to be a homeowner, but I really want military family members and veterans to be homeowners, because they deserve it. They selfishly fight for this country, and I want them to do what we do through that to build wealth. And we get, if y'all familiar or not familiar with the terms, BAH is basic housing allowance. That's what we get to a subsidy to pay for our housing every month. Well, I say that is buy a house. BAH stands for buy a house. The government literally pays us to invest in real estate, but so many of them do not understand their benefit. So that is truly our passion. We believe in the dream of home ownership everywhere for everyone, but we really are passionate about it for military.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. And I know I see so many folks on here. I see Roz Booker on here, right? And Rhonda and Kristen. And I think that we all share the same. And it doesn't matter if it's for military homes or to reduce the wealth gap between Caucasians and minorities, because I
Yes.
think we're around 44%, where Caucasians are around 75 to 76%. And
I
closing that
love it.
gap doesn't mean that, you know, that we're putting the majority in a negative position. It's great for us all. So I
Yes.
think when that mindset changes, that there's not a lack, right, at all. There's way more. There's enough for us all. And so again, I think that we're destined, and we're supposed to be, I guess, change agents is what I'm trying to think of. And I feel like sometimes that's my pulpit that I stand on today. And I know that it's yours, right? Serving the military. And I know Monique, who I think she's may not be on today, but she's a very
Same.
consistent member here. She
Yep.
feels exactly the same way. And I know Roz Booker feels exactly the same way. So tell me about, and I love the fact that I think that I don't know if it's your motto, if it's your company creed. You've got the 3D, right? There, that's
Yeah.
important to you. So
Yeah.
touch on those Ds. What does that mean to you?
I that was that bio I wrote when I was a new agent when they was telling us to have a bio, right? And I didn't really know, and I would Google everything and um, try to figure out who I was and what I wanted to exude through my business. And that's evolved over time. And I changed it some since then, but I have still kept the 3Ds. But it's just about overall dedication to somebody. I believe in what I do. I always said if I was the janitor, I'd be the best janitor in the janitorial business. If I was a school teacher, I would be school teacher of the year. If I was a principal, I'd be principal of the year. If I worked at McDonald's in the drive-through, I would be setting standards for everybody at McDonald's for the drive-through. That's just who I am. I'm dedicated to excellence. And
Absolutely.
I'm just fanatical about customer service. And through that, that's where that comes from. When we all go out to a service, we expect to get what we pay for. Or maybe we don't anymore because so many people are not confrontational. So if you're like my husband, he'll just eat the food wrong. And I'm like, no, we're sending it back. And it took him 10 years because every time I would send my food back, he would cringe. It took us being married 10 years for him to really, for the light bulb to pop on to say, oh my God, I know why. And I was like, what? He was like, I know why you send your food back, because you pay for it. I'm frugal. I don't like to spend money. We run real lean. We're at like 28% expenses, which is under what the MREA says, which is 33%, I think, right? I don't like to spend money. So if I go out to eat, I go out to eat because I want to get something I can't make as well at home, or I don't feel like doing it. So I want to get what I pay for. So I want people to get what they pay for. And the 3Ds help me do that.
Mm. What I love is that you you created that, right? And let's say that that was just a standard. And I would almost I feel like after all these years, I had to sit down and take some real time to see what's Ben Baker's slogan, motto, business standard. And I'll tell you, for me, and I'll read this because it'll only take a few seconds. It was my success is the evidence of my commitment to positively affect the world I live in, the communities I sell, and the families I strengthen and impact. And for me, that spoke to me. And I think the gist here is that find find what moves your needle, right? What impacts you and what makes your heart happy. And there it is, right? You don't have to put any more thought into it than that. So thank you for sharing that. I saw that on your bio and I just thought I have to ask her about it. So
Yeah. I
Christina,
think it comes from, and sorry, cut you off.
yes.
I think it comes from my passion for what fuels my soul is teaching people to do better than they know how to do. There's so much talent in the world, but they're not in a place that helps them cultivate that. And there's so many people that want to do better than they're doing, but they don't know better. And they're not in an environment that has the ability to teach them better because they haven't been taught better. And it becomes a revolving door, which is part of the gap, the generational gap, I think, that we were talking about earlier. And if any of you are a part of NAREP, as you can tell from the last name, my husband's Hispanic, I am not, but we have Hispanic children and I want them to succeed, and I don't want them to be put in a place that they cannot succeed because they're Hispanic. But if you're following the stats in NAREP, the Hispanic population is killing it in the real estate game. They are very quickly closing that generational gap. They are the fastest buying population. which is amazing because of the work through NAREP, the education, the saying, somebody telling them you can have it and you can do better. And everybody you meet needs that from you. It doesn't matter who they are, what they serve, what religion, what color. Everybody deserves to pass that down to their kids and grandkids. And you, each one of you on this call, can be the reason somebody does that and changes the course of their life and stops the revolving door. And that's how serious our job is. People think it's just, when I see people that I work with daily and it treats it just as a job and a commission, it's so much more than a commission. You use the word change agent is exactly what we are. Everybody on this call has the opportunity to change somebody's life by teaching them that they can buy a house. Just one house can change their life. They don't have to have 10, that would be even better. But
Right.
one can change the course of their life, and one conversation can change the course of their life. Like Ben Kinney, if you ever heard his story, he was a cable guy, laying cable.
Right.
One lady took the opportunity to talk to him and gave him the red book, the MREA. And now Ben Kinney's top probably 20 real estate agents that's making change and creating militaries in the world. What if he had never met that lady?
Absolutely.
Where would he be? Where would the people he's touching his business be? And that can be all of you. You don't have to do it on a big scale. We think we got to make a big splash to make change, but you don't. It just takes one person at a time. Every closing you have is an opportunity to change somebody's life.
100%. And I can tell you, I love this because I see some young folks on here, and one I'm just so proud of, Joanna Rodriguez, and she's a young lady who is making an impact, not just in your community, but all over. And I think that, again, this business and success here, it doesn't have an age limit on it at all. I wish that I had gotten in it when I was 18 or 19.
Me too, gosh.
That's when I started to see and feel the hunger of this. And it wasn't until 26. And I wish, it's one of my biggest regrets that I'd gotten in it much sooner, but we're in it now, and we can make a difference. So I appreciate you sharing that. Christina, my right hand, is there a question there in the chat that we can address, or we can, or
I
not?
think I saw one. What do your systems look like? Crystal, y'all, come on the screen, Crystal. Show them how beautiful you are. She serves
Okay.
Savannah, Georgia, y'all.
Okay.
What systems, Chris? I have a lot of systems. So is there a specific system that you all would like to talk about? Because I know we only have 9 minutes, so I'd like to hone in on what that looks like for you.
Sorry, I'm at the nail salon real quick.
But that's okay. At least you on.
Yes.
You kept honing in on systems, and I was just trying to figure out exactly what yours look like. I know there's so many, but I know you focused on system. So I just want a little bit more clarification on that.
So
does that mean like brevity, or do you use Command at all, or do you use Goldmine? What do you use?
we use Brevity. That's our CRM. So I have a listing coordinator and a transaction coordinator. I mean, a buyer transaction coordinator, sorry. Both of them have built everything that happens within their realm of the listing and buying side through Brevity. Everything is a task or a recurring something. And that's how they can keep up. Both of those ladies are closing 80 to 100 transactions themselves, one person, because we're about half and half on our listings and buyers. And so they kill it at a high level, but that's because these systems through the Brevity platform helps them keep up. If not, they couldn't keep up, because I think the average TC they say could handle what, 20, 25 top a month. And these ladies, there was times we were closing 40 a month during COVID, and they were both doing that. But they did that through the systems, which my husband Jim created. He is an amazing operations mind. That's what he did in the military. And so through his brain and my big ideas, he helps those ladies create systems that keep us on track. And the other systems is our lead generation, right? It's not just a system. Our system is lead generation every day. Our agents have to talk to 20 people a day. It's about conversations, not dials. How many ever dials it takes you to have 20 conversations? And if you're down on your goal, then we might need to adjust that to 25 or 30 conversations a day, 5 days a week. They have to do 2 open houses a week. Unless they're consistently closing 4 homes a month, then it's their choice. Otherwise, it's not. Education is huge. The 3 pillars of our business is education, communication, and customer service. And so we're every day coaching them in those 3 things, because my vision is creating a customer experience. When they work with us, it's an experience. It's not a transaction. And for a lot of them, it's their first time. So we talk to them systematically, even after the closing, through our drip system is systematically set to speak to them about, say no to solar panels. I have that 3 times going out to them in the first 6 months. Say no to solar panels. Why? Because I care about them. And if they're a military family, they cannot sell that house when they leave if they have those solar panels. It adds 0 value, and it's hard for people to take it over. And we talk like that. If it's a new home, we have a system that reminds them the first 30 days to do their 30-day with the agent, you know, their punch list. If they do a 60-90 as the builder, they get an email on that. At 8 months, we remind them to do another inspection so they can, you know, milk that 1 year builder freebies that they get. When we close, my admin team writes 4 cards within 48 hours of closing. They get a 30-day check-in card. Hey, checking in, hoping you're getting settled. They get a birthday card. They get a 1-year anniversary card, and they get a holiday card. So that goes out 4 times to them throughout the year. And then we do 2 big client events a year. And then the system is teaching them how to be a homeowner and maintain their home. And if interest rates change and drop and it's beneficial for them to refinance, we start calling every one of them immediately. Our experience, I say, really begins when we close. Yes, we are the best in El Paso for them for the transaction. Now, everybody doesn't love us. You know, people hire who they like and trust, and some people just don't like you sometimes, and that's okay. Right. But the 9 out of 10 that do and allow us to guide them and trust that have an amazing experience, and that is our goal.
I love everything about that. So, how many folks do you have in your database? Your
5,000. I think 5,000, just shy of 5,000 that we work. And our 2 agents just did a challenge. We did a challenge throughout place, and I would challenge you all. We're here at September, y'all. We don't have much more time in this year to make a splash. So what's going to be the difference for you to have a successful end of the year? We just did a challenge where they had called 5,000 people in 60 days. Who wants to do that on here? Most people cringe. But the snowball effect from that is crazy. And one of my agents who never believed it, I was like, so how is the business coming from your 5,000 dials? And part of that is your follow-up every day, right? Because the money's in the follow-up. She looked at me with a half smile because she didn't want to admit it. Was like, it's working. But our 2 buyers agents completed 5,000 calls in 60 days. That's setting them up for an amazing end of the year. So I would encourage you all. What are you going to do? What are you changing today to have a different result for the end of the year? Because if you're down in your goals, what you're doing is not working. Or if it is, it's not working at a high level. So you got to double it or you got to triple it. What service do you use for email? Jim, my husband's on here. Jim, what service do we, it's through Gmail. We use Gmail, but we have our own email, which we created through a system, I don't know, that Jim created.
No. So just when you have, I don't think I can talk, can I?
Yes,
yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. So when we have the Gmail suite and you own the domain, then at that point, you're able to tie Gmail to the domain, and then you can customize and personalize your own email platform.
Wonderful. And do you use that? I saw email blast, or do you use Brevity for that, or you use some type of Gmail service?
MailChimp for most.
MailChimp
yeah. And Brevity. If it's our clients that's in the Brevity database, we use that. But like for client events and competitions, we do that through MailChimp and through we have a private Facebook page for our clients that we encourage them to be on so we can keep up with them there as well. And for all my clients, I try to friend them on Facebook so I can watch what's happening in their life, because If I see somebody got promoted in a job, guess what goes out? I screenshot that, I send it in my ops channel, and I say, send them a congratulations card. If I see they had a baby, I screenshot that, put it in my ops channel, and say, the thing is, when somebody says, what advice do you have for an agent reaching your success? You have to be fanatical about what you want. You have to not care to work 7 days a week in the beginning to build it, because I did. You have to be or surround yourself with people with like goals and like vision. You don't want to mirror my vision. You want your vision, but you can take from mine to help improve yours. Or you can say, Chastity tried that. She said it sucks, so I'm not wasting money. Or maybe you have a different result from it, but you have to be around people that's teaching you how to do it. Like Ben said, agents at this level sometimes spend more money on events and education than some agents make a year. Success leaves clues. There was one year, I think I spent $35,000 on events, but I meet people like Ben and Crystal through these events that become partners for us in the future, to advocate for us, that we advocate for them. If I see Ben post something on Facebook that he needs, I'm going to message Ben and say, hey, Ben, I know somebody that has that. That is how powerful this network is. Yes, I want everybody on here to refer me in El Paso, but I also want to be a resource for you. Anybody on this could reach out to me and say, Chastity, I'm trying to build this one little thing. Do you have any experience, or anybody that has that experience that you could put me in touch with? Because our world is small. To remember, we succeed together. We don't win alone. We succeed together, and we don't have to be friends to succeed. I just care about your business, and I care about you succeeding as much as I care about military families owning homes. And we have to have that mentality together. Nobody on here is my competition, and nobody on here is yours, even if you're in the same market.
Absolutely.
You service different things in different people.
100%. What is that, Albert? What, join a network? So are you
I network like crazy. I network like crazy. I network with Ben for how long to say, hey, and then I run into him and say, I want to be on your rise and grind. I cornered him at Mega Camp, was like, hey, I want to speak.
Yes.
One, I want people to know my story. Two, I want to add value to Ben, and I hope I've added value to you all today.
All day.
And I want to know who you are, because maybe one of you are doing something that I need, and through this networking that we're doing right now, I learned that. That's how I grew my business, through people and through networking, to learn how to do that. So if you want to grow to this level, I would first say, what's important to you about growing to this level? Is it because you care about people and you want to bring more people in to develop and help make them money? Or is it all about you and you making money? That's two different things. And that's going to bring you two different things. I care about people. I want to see people that wasn't taught make money, that lived like me growing up, to make money, to say, I can do this, I can have this, I can have an amazing house with a pool if I want it. There's some people out there that just want it because they want the money, and they want 50% of what those agents do, which those fail time and time again. So you got to get clear on why you want that success. What is your why? And then build it around that.